Shabbat Shalom. We begin our worship on page 128 with Ma Yafeh Hayom. How lovely today is. Shabbat Shalom.
Ma Yafeh Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Ma Yafeh Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Ma Yafeh Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Ma Yafeh Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. We continue now with Romemu in the middle of page 135. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Please join me now in Lecha Dodi as we welcome the Sabbath bride on pages 138 and 139. Lecha Dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi
And we now continue with the lighting of the Shabbat candles.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us, as their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
We continue on page 125. Where has this week vanished? Is it lost forever? Will I ever recover anything from it? The joy of life, the unexpected victory, the realized hope, the task accomplished? Will I ever be able to banish the memory of pain, the sting of defeat, the heaviness of boredom? On this day, let me keep for a while what must drift away. On this day, let me be free of the burdens that must return. On this day, Shabbat abide. Help me to withdraw for a while from the flight of time, contain the retreat of the hours and days from the grasp of frantic life. Let me learn to pause, if only for this day. Let me find peace on this day. Let me enter into a quiet world this day. On this day, Shabbat abide.
Continue now on page 144. Yitkadal veyitkadash shmei Rabba.
Amen.
Be'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei.
B'chayechon ufyomechon ufchayei chol Beit Yisrael. Bagala uvizman kariv.
Veimeru, Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabba mevorach, le'olam ul'olmei almaya, yitbarach, yitbarach ve'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam ve'yitnaseh, ve'yitadar ve'yitale ve'yitalal, Shemei dekudsha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma, v'imeru, Amen.
We continue with Baruch Hu, our call to worship on page 146. Please rise if you are able. Page 148. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, v'chokhmah poteach she'arim, uvitfuna meshane itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umisader et hakochavim, v'mishmerotehem barakir kirtzono. Borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, uma'avir yom umevi layla, umavdil ben yom uven layla, Adonai tzavaot shemo, el chai v'kayam tamid imloch aleinu leolam va'ed, baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. Page 150.
Ahavat olam beit Yisrael, amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadeta. Al ken Adonai Eloheinu, b'shochbeinu v'kumeinu, nasiach b'chukecha, v'nismach b'divrei Toratcha, u'b'mitzvotecha, le'olam, le'olam va'ed. Ahavat olam beit Yisrael, amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadeta. Ki hem chayenu be'orech yameinu, uvahem neged yomam v'layla, ve'ahavatcha al tasir mimenu le'olamim, le'olamim. Ahavat olam beit Yisrael, amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadeta. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael, ohev amo Yisrael. Ahavat olam beit Yisrael, amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadeta.
So invite us to take a deep breath in and exhale out. Take another deep breath in as we breathe in that sense of Shabbat. And exhale out, Mishagas. Another deep breath in as we breathe in that sense of Shalom, of wholeness and completeness. And exhale out all that negative energy within us.
Open up our eyes, teach us how to live, fill our hearts with joy and all the love you have to give. את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Together on page 155. Love your God with every heartbeat, with every breath, with every conscious act. Keep in mind the words I command you today. Teach them to your children. Talk about them at work. Whether you are tired or you are rested, let them guide the work of your hands. Keep them in the forefront of your vision. Do not leave them at the doorway of your house or outside your gate. They are reminders to do all of my mitzvot, so that you can be holy for God. I am Adonai, your God. I led you out of Egypt to become your God. I am Adonai, your God.
We continue on page 157. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. We continue on page 158 with Mi Chamocha. We continue on page 162 with Vishamru.
השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם, לדורותם ברית עולם.
We are a people in whom the past endures, in whom the present is inconceivable without moments gone by. The Exodus lasted a moment enduring forever. What happened once upon a time happens all the time. We continue now with the central portion of our worship with our tefillah. Please rise if you are able.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, ve'Koneh Hakol, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו, לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומיתו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
Days pass and the years vanish, and we walk sightless among miracles. God, fill our eyes with seeing and our minds with knowing. Let there be moments when your presence, like lightning, illumines the darkness in which we walk. Help us to see wherever we gaze that the bush burns unconsumed, and we, clay touched by God, will reach out for holiness and exclaim in wonder, how filled with awe is this place, and we did not know it. Blessed is the Eternal One, the Holy God. Page 173. We join together. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-Shabbat. Page 175 on the bottom of the page. You are with us in our prayer, our love, and our doubt, and our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still, clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levadcha bi'irah na'avod. Page 177. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more, we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha lacher na'eh lehodot.
Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael Amcha. Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav. Ki ata u'melech Adon, lechol hashalom. Ki ata u'melech Adon, melech Adon, lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael Amcha. Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. V'tov beinecha levarech et amcha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך, בשלומך. Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael Amcha. Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav.
I invite us now to take a deep breath in and exhale out as we now reflect on that makor shalom, that source of peace that lies within each one of us, as we pause now in silent reflection.
Nikion libi lefanecha Adonai tzuri Adonai tzuri Vekoali
We now focus our energies toward those who are ill and in need of healing. On this Shabbat, we think of Sally Amarendez, Chana bat Miriam, Eliana bat Chana, Robert Berg, Barbara Berlant, Mort Berlant, Dr. Arnold Berliner, Sarah Beinstock, Sandy Beinstock, Rich Burns, Esther Burton, Dr. Ed Kahn, Bob Kent, Chana Rivka bat Rachel, Nicole Chapman, Hadley Crane, Jason Fishoff, Carolyn Franklin, Barbara Fiedman, Holly Fugit, Betty Garcia, Mary Gold, Jennifer Guerrera, Phil Hammer, Courtney Hansen, Dr. Gary Height, Lee Henderson, Barbara Jackowitz, Linda Johnson, Mimi Jones, Selma Karcham, Evan Krieger, Evelyn Katz-McCosker, Leah Tzvia Batlibav Elchanan, Janice Lucero, Young Sung Lot, Carol Lerner, Shirley Lerner, Gary Levine, Penny Levine, Litia Leos, Bobby Lotman, Austin Lucero, Carrie Medina, Eva Misley, Brad Parkins, Esther Richmond, Linda Rogers, Marilyn Rudy, Dolores Sams Hoy, Gary Sanders, Laura Sanders, Teresa Sandoval, Donna Shine, Sybil Summer, Donna Thyman, Pham Tai Trang, Teresa Walsh, Claire Cecil Watson, Rosanna Wershing, Jeannie Watson, Nancy Weisenfeld, Karen Williams, Sue Witten, Sherman Wong, and everyone who is suffering from coronavirus, as we continue with our healing prayer. We continue now with the word of Torah. What a week it has been. Wednesday was wonderful. For me, as an American Jew, I find the ritual surrounding inauguration to be so beautifully powerful. Watching the presidents and officials walking in, seeing Democrats and Republicans together socializing and schmoozing, just warms my heart. And I have to say, as a rabbi, to have a person of reasonable faith in the White House excites me, because this president has a deep and connecting heart. He truly cares for our country, and his call for unity is exactly what we need right now. I recognize that not every Jew voted for President Biden, but after the insurrection a couple of weeks ago and the lack of a cohesive plan for vaccinating our nation from COVID, I think most of us appreciate the experience and stability that President Biden brings to the table. And yet, there are those in our country who have hardened their hearts to the opportunities we have before us. When this should be a time, that we all lean in, making our country better than it was. In this week's Torah portion, titled Bo from the book of Exodus, we learn the impact of hardening our hearts. As Moses visits Pharaoh again and again, and just as it seems they have worked things out, Pharaoh's heart is hardened, and he maintains his tyrannical leadership over our people. When we harden our hearts, we are unable to progress as people, as a community, and as a nation. When we harden our hearts, we are unable to hear the cry, the pain of our fellow Americans. When we harden our hearts, we are unable to grow our relationships with one another. When we harden our hearts, we hurt those around us. When we harden our hearts, we become disconnected energies and can lose sight of who and what we are. The only way we can make effective change is to open our hearts to the possibilities and to each other. This is the time to reestablish relationships and to listen to others' opinions. On Wednesday, Amanda Gorman, the poet laureate, wrote and delivered a poem that I think was incredible. I think it was one of the great highlights of the inauguration, quite frankly. And she says this so beautifully. I quote her to end this Devar Torah. But while democracy can be periodically delayed, it can never be permanently defeated. In this truth, in this faith we trust, for while we have our eyes on the future, history has its eyes on us. This is the era of just redemption. We feared it at its inception. We did not feel prepared to be the heirs of such a terrifying hour, but within it, we found the power to author a new chapter, to offer hope and laughter to ourselves. So while once we asked, how could we possibly prevail over catastrophe? Now we assert, how could catastrophe possibly prevail over us? We will not march back to what was, but move to what shall be a country that is bruised but whole, benevolent but bold, fierce and free. We will not be turned around or interrupted by intimidation, because we know our inaction and inertia will be the inheritance of the next generation. Our blunders become their burdens. But one thing is certain: if we merge mercy with might and might with right, then love becomes our legacy and change our children's birthright. So let us leave behind a country better one we were left with. Every breath from my bronze pounded chest, we will raise this wounded world into a wondrous one. We will rise from the gold-limbed hills of the west. We'll rise from the wind-swept northeast, where our forefathers first realized revolution. We will rise from the lake-rimmed cities of the Midwestern states. We will rise from the sun-baked south. We will rebuild, reconcile, and recover in every known nook of our nation, and every corner called our country. Our people, diverse and beautiful, will emerge battered and beautiful. When day comes, we step out of the shade of flame and unafraid. The new dawn blooms as we free it. For there is always light, if only we're brave enough to see it, if only we're brave enough to be it. Wow. Amanda Gorman teaches us why we mustn't harden our hearts. May we be brave enough to be it. Amen.
We continue with Elena on page 586. Please rise if you're able.
Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon ha'kol, la'tet gedula le'otzeh breshit, shehu notei shamayim ve'oser haaretz, u'moshev yikaro b'shamayim mima'al, u'shchinatu zo begofei meromim, u'Eloheinu ein od, va'anachnu korim, u'mishtachavim u'modim, לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו echad.
As we now come to the moment in our service when we think about members of our community who have died recently or in years past, I invite you, upon hearing the name of your loved one, to stand as a sign of your love and grief, and to remain standing until all the names on our Yahrzeit list have been recited. On this Shabbat, we are mindful of those that are grieving the Shloshim, the 30-day period of mourning for Gunther Vogler, Boris Supak, Father Bill Leninger, Lois Rosette. We also think of those that are grieving the Shana, the first year of mourning, for Gary Akinen, Marion Bergoffen, Tony Berliner, Raymond Berman, Idel Kagan, Dory Cohen, Rabbi Sissy Koren, Rebecca Lindecker, Benny Schumann Donald, Vladimir Doktorovich, Bert Epstein, Glenn Farber, Beverly Furman, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Helen Marchik Goldman, Bernice Green, Susan Hammer, Bob Hirsch, Seema Jaffe, Jerry Kane, Rita Kane, Michal Lubin, David Dudi Messinger, Irene Neal, Richard Pascoe, Nancy Pfister, Cami Resnick, Curtis Lee Robinson, Edith Robinson, Rabbi Kenneth Roseman, Laura Marie Rosen, Barbara Rudnecki, Ruth Silen, Marilyn Silver, Francis Singer, B. Chandler Shaw, Greg Stiller, Joel Strauss, Carol Wachtenheim. We also think of the following Yahrzeits that we observe on this Shabbat, as we think of Jewel Altman, Bill Bitter, Leela Cohen, Michael Bernard Elman, Stuart Gans, Tybalt Garshon, Nella Hoffman, Mona Jacobs, Helen Kidder, Sam Covenant, Gertrude Leiter, Mary Leon, John Lukes, Francis Lutsky, Helene Malik, Zenik Maor, Lily Maor, Janet Moore, Stephen Penner, Elisa M. Powell, Mildred Phillips, Al Reiser, Fred Retchen, Abraham Joseph Rosenberg, Samuel Rubin, Eileen Rudin, Joseph Schwartz, Virginia Chevelle, Rose Smith, David Summer, Stanley Tobin, Maurice Tucker, Sandy Waldo, Miriam Winter, Gerhard Wolf, Rose Zabinski, Zichronam Livracha, May all the memories of our loved ones endure as blessings as we continue now with our Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shmei Rabba, ve'alma divrach yirutei ve'amlich malachutei, v'chayachon v'yomechon v'chayei techol be'Yisrael, b'agalav uzman kariv imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabba mevorach le'olam olmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'tromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yithaleh v'yithalal shmei dekudesha b'rechu. Le'alami ko birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'elma v'imru, amen. Yehei shlomo rabba meshemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen.
Shabbat Shalom. My name is Larry Fox, and this is my son Carter. On behalf of the Temple Emanu-El's Board of Trustees, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you to our streaming Erev Shabbat service. And Carter will read the announcements for you.
All right. On Tuesday, January 26th, join in on Rabbi's weekly Tuesday chat at noon. Also on Tuesday, you can join the San Jose City Hall Holocaust Remembrance, which will take place at 1:30 p.m. On Thursday, January 28th, our film discussion will take place at noon. Also on Thursday, at 5 p.m., Hebrew Union College will be holding a virtual Komsitz called Sing Unto God to celebrate the music of Debbie Friedman. Register in advance online. Next Friday, January 29th, our Kabbalat Shabbat service will be live at 6:30 p.m. Enjoy sermon and song in honor of Shabbat Shirah. If you are interested in adult beginning Hebrew, Phil Hankin will be starting a new session starting this Monday at 7 p.m. Finally, Tickets are now on sale for the APJCC's annual Jubilee Day of Jewish Learning, which will take place on Sunday, January 31st at 1:30 p.m. This promises to be an extraordinary Tikkun Olam experience. Rabbi Magat and other TEE members will be leading sessions. Remember to register for all Zoom events in advance in order to get your link. Wishing you all a Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom and have a great weekend.